Hurricane Debbie made landfall over Florida, now down to a tropical storm, but all that rain is headed up into Georgia. We'll let you know the impacts here and also in North Georgia in the full forecast straight ahead.
Atlanta Public Schools is swearing in its new superintendent, Dr. Brian Johnson. We're going to take you to that ceremony. Well, the climate crisis might be spiraling and spilling over to the produce aisle. Experts explain why you may soon pay more. Hello and welcome to 11Alive Midday. I'm Aisha Howard. Today, multiple states, including parts of Georgia, bracing for the impact from Hurricane Debbie. The Category 1 storm made landfall in Florida this morning, where both President Joe Biden and Florida's governor have declared a state of emergency. This new video we're seeing here is showing us some of the damage left behind from Debbie. People in Cedar Key, Florida, they are dealing with severe flooding and downed trees along with power lines. Let's get a live look right now. This is actually Inglewood Beach in Florida. Sort of looks like the calm after the storm, but we're still seeing some of those waves crashing on shore and also the winds blowing through those trees right now. Meanwhile, here in Georgia, Governor Brian Kemp has declared an emergency executive order for 2,000 National Guard troops to help with the cleanup and recovery efforts in response to what could come from Hurricane Debbie. Let's get straight to meteorologist Chesley McNeil with your weather impact forecast. Chesley, let's talk about where Debbie is now and what Georgia could experience.
That's still over Florida. Made landfall, but slowing down a little bit. It was moving to the northwest at about, or northeast rather, at about 16 miles per hour, but now down to about 10 miles per hour. Has made landfall and now down to a tropical storm. Winds around the center of circulation about 70 miles per hour, and that's going to continue to weaken as it continues to push further up into our state. Now you can see the heavy rain associated with this now moving into the southern portions of the state, over toward the east as well. You got that onshore flow coming in, and so the brunt of the storm will be felt there. Again, over into the southern and central portions of the state, and that's where you find the center of circulation still over toward Florida, but we'll be moving further off to the north. You got all that onshore flow coming in, and so yeah, it's going to be wet. You're talking about a good maybe 10 to 12 inches in parts of South Georgia and over toward the east. For us, not a whole lot going on right now. There's a better look at it now. Again, made landfall. This is Cross City, just to the east of that, over toward a place called Steinhatchee. That will continue to slide further off to the north, weaken somewhat, but will spread clouds our way. We got the sunshine out there right now. In fact, it looks pretty good. Those clouds will continue to move in, and we may get an isolated shower or two. Not much rain here. Most of that will be felt down into the south and east. Right now, we're looking at temperatures right around 83 degrees. Looks beautiful on the outside. A couple of cumulus clouds around. 83 in the city, 84 degrees in Duluth. You got 81 over toward Athens, 80 up into Blairsville, 79 in Clayton. You're still stuck in the 70s there. And also over toward Carrollton, you're at 79 degrees, but everyone making it up into the 80s today. I think the clouds will have something to say about our high temperature today. We'll get more clouds pushing in, plus an easterly flow, and those winds start to pick up on us just a little bit. Anywhere between 10 and 15 miles per hour sustained winds. Gusts could be in the 20 mile per hour range. Of course, we'll talk more about that coming up. 88 for the afternoon high. Some spots may get up to 90 for a high temperature today. And again, only a few of us will see an isolated shower or two. That will linger into about 7 o'clock, and then things will start to diminish. And then we'll do it all over again for tomorrow with those winds coming back to us. We'll talk more about that and the storm and the full forecast straight ahead. Aisha?
All right, Chesley, thank you. Right now, preparations continue for the impacts of Hurricane Debbie. The Red Cross has about 200 volunteers that are already on the move. 11Alive Sherry Carnes shows us how they're prepping and getting into place.
In Brunswick, near the Georgia coast, homeowners rush to prepare for the arrival of Debbie, filling sandbags that will be used to keep floodwaters out.
We do know that in certain areas of Savannah, the water's coming. It's going to be a steady, slow thing, and it may increase to where areas that normally did not flood will flood.
Debbie has already introduced itself to portions of Florida, with rain heavy enough to swamp areas of Pinellas County. This is just the beginning as Debbie threatens to march across Florida into southeast Georgia.
We've been preparing for days at the Red Cross. We've been monitoring the weather forecast. We're right now mobilizing all of our people and our resources and moving them into position.
The Red Cross has volunteers in Georgia who are trained to respond to the impacts of violent storms.
We really provide that safe shelter for individuals who aren't able to return back to their homes, feeding, as well as emergency cleanup supplies, emotional health support, and also what we call health services.
Georgia power crews are among the many poised to respond to areas left in the dark.
Before a storm, we encourage our customers to have an emergency kit. This would have any batteries, flashlights, any chargers, any medications that you may need in the event of losing power.
The Georgia Department of Transportation has crews ready to clear any roadways that may be impacted by water or debris scattered by Debbie's wind and rain. Jerry Carnes, 11Alive News.
GDOT tells us their crews are currently working to clear storm drains of any debris so that they can handle the heavy rain. However, those crews will have to stop work if the winds reach speeds of 40 miles an hour. To stay up to date on the weather impacting your area, just scan this QR code you see right there on your screen. Download the 11Alive mobile app for free. Once you download it, you can sign up for weather alerts that impact your specific location. Well, it is official. Atlanta Public Schools has a new superintendent. A swearing-in ceremony taking place just moments ago for Dr. Brian Johnson. 11Alive's Liza Lucas at the APS Board of Education. Liza, Dr. Johnson expected to get started right away.
Right away. As soon as this room maybe clears out, then they'll really let him get to work. But yes, he is set to preside over his first Board of Education meeting for Atlanta Public Schools this very afternoon. At the same time, he says today that he is very humbled to be selected for this role. And at the same time, he's laid out a lofty goal for the district to become the greatest urban school district in America. So Dr. Johnson says he does not have a lot of words beyond that, but he is ready to get to work. Johnson has experience, you may remember, as both a superintendent in Tennessee, as well as experience in higher education and the private sector. His son also now attends school in APS, a point noted once again today by Justice Colvin, who swore him in. Dr. Johnson says it really takes everyone to run a school district, and he said today that he is ready to roll up his sleeves.
I understand what excellence looks like, and we are committed to excellence. And when we say that, we want excellence everywhere. Excellence everywhere. Everywhere.
So we are going to be talking with him further in just moments, and we'll bring you the latest tonight on 11Alive News at 4 p.m. and 6 p.m. We should also know that there was a tremendous amount of gratitude in this room today for interim superintendent Dr. Danielle Battle and for all she did as she stepped up into this role. Live in Atlanta, Liza Lucas, 11Alive News.
All right, Liza, thank you. So today in Henry County, the community will get one final chance to meet superintendent finalist Dr. John Pace III. A meeting will be held tonight from 5:30 to 7 at the McDonough High School cafeteria. As early as tomorrow, the board could vote on his appointment to the role. Dr. Pace is from Miami-Dade County Public Schools. That is the third largest school district in the country. There he served as deputy superintendent. Well, the first day of school is in full swing for several Metro Atlanta districts. 11Alive was there bright and early as the first buses arrived at Mountain Park Elementary School in Roswell. Principal Ayo Richardson says that some of the teachers have been working since mid-July to get their classrooms ready and just right for the first day. And she shared some advice for all families looking to the year ahead.
Communication is key. If you have any questions, reach out to your child's teacher. More than happy to make sure that we're working together to make sure that every child's experience at school is incredible.
Principal Richardson says the big focus this year will include implementation of Georgia's early literacy legislation. That law changed the way Georgia teaches students to read with a new emphasis on the science of reading method.
Okay, guys, power your phones off and lock your pouches. I will come around and make sure your pouch is locked. So, phones and Apple Watches. Thank you, Leonardo.
Students will be hearing that a lot this academic year. Marietta students are now kicking off the first full week of school with the new Yonder pouches. The new school accessory is expected to cut down on those classroom distractions, locking away students' phones and smartwatches during school hours. Students will be able to access their devices at the end of the day.
And now they're actually having conversations walking down the hallway. They're less, distracted by trying to pull out a cell phone and text someone really quickly. I think the biggest impact has been the relationships with the students, with their peers. That's been significant. You've just seen a huge uptick in how students interact with each other, how they're communicating with each other, and even with adults.
Okay, you see what happens when you bring your head up from a screen? The Yonder pouches went into effect on August 1st. We want to remind you, as students head back to class, we are asking for your help to make sure they have everything they need. 11Alive is partnering with Heritage Elementary and McNair Middle School in Fulton County to help them fulfill their Amazon wish list. You can scan this QR code on your screen. It's going to take you straight to the list. That's where you'll find everything like notebooks, even uniforms there to help these students, and especially books. The drive runs through August 23rd. A live look outside at Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport, where Delta Airlines CEO Ed Bastian says the airline will pursue legal action following the recent tech outage that disrupted flights worldwide and cost Delta $500 million. CrowdStrike is now responding, saying it should not be blamed for Delta Airlines flight disruptions. The company also says it rejects any allegation that it committed misconduct. A little more than a week ago, a huge fire displaced more than 100 people at the Bell Collier Village Apartments on Howell Mill Road. Some of those residents are finally able to go inside and retrieve their belongings, but some neighbors are disappointed with the lack of communication from the complex, calling it minimal at best. 11Alive's Karis Belger has more.
Sunday afternoon, some residents of the Collier Village Apartments in Buckhead were able to go inside for the first time in over a week.
Got up, looked out the window, and I told my mom we need to go. And it wasn't until we got outside that we saw all the black smoke and we knew the building was actually on fire.
But not everyone was so lucky. This woman and her mother say they have received very little communication from management, and they're desperate to get inside for necessities and personal items.
From what I just heard from a construction or a contractor was that they're starting with the least affected to most affected, which I get. I understand you have protocols and procedures in place, so I just want to know where I fall. I don't have my social security card, my passport, my degree.
The fire happened last Saturday, and according to fire officials, a rooftop party where over 100 people were in attendance is to blame for the fire. People on the 5th floor say they were given 2 boxes and 30 minutes to grab what they could. One resident shared an email with 11Alive stating more information would be available in the coming weeks.
It's so heart-wrenching to hear that so many people have lost everything, and we just don't know if we can recover.
Karis Belger, 11Alive News.
The Veep Stakes continues. Vice President Kamala Harris is closer to announcing who will join her ticket as vice president. Susan McGinnis has more from Washington.
Vice President Kamala Harris's big decision is now just a day away. The presidential hopeful meeting face-to-face in Washington with several top contenders. Who will be her running mate?
We are the underdogs in this race.
If Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro knows her choice, he wasn't letting on Saturday.
I'm taking my dog for a walk.
Speculation is growing Shapiro will be her choice, a popular governor in a key swing state delivering 19 electoral votes. Along with Shapiro, the narrowing field includes Minnesota Governor Tim Walz and Arizona Senator Mark Kelly. Trump's VP choice defending his running mate this weekend.
All I can do is go out there and prosecute the case against Kamala Harris and remind people that things were more prosperous and more peaceful when Donald Trump was president.
The latest poll shows Harris in a virtual dead heat with the former president. And in key swing states, Harris virtually eliminates Trump's earlier lead over President Biden. Trump sharpening his attacks on Harris.
You have a radical left freak. You have a candidate who is fake, fake, fake. On the other hand, you have a president who will fight, fight, fight.
After a rally in Philadelphia Tuesday, Harris and her new running mate plan a tour of 7 battleground states with stops including Detroit, Savannah, and Las Vegas. Susan McGinnis, NBC News, Washington.
Tonight, the Democratic National Committee will finish its vote, making Vice President Kamala Harris the party's official nominee. On Friday, it was announced that Harris had won enough delegates to secure the Democratic Party nomination, but they're waiting until voting is closed and the results are finalized to make the official announcement there. Meanwhile, former President Donald Trump and his running mate, Ohio Senator J.D. Vance, they held a rally in Atlanta over the weekend. Lawmakers and supporters came together at the Georgia State University's Convocation Center. Before his speech, former President Trump held a roundtable with black business owners asking how they have been impacted by the economy. During the rally, he took aim at Fulton County District Attorney Fonnie Willis over his indictment for allegedly interfering to overthrow the 2020 presidential race in Georgia. He also attacked his presumptive Democratic opponent, VP Harris.
4 months ago, she was considered grossly incompetent by the fake news. Now they're saying, oh, isn't she wonderful? Isn't she wonderful? No, she's not wonderful.
Trump also attacked Georgia's Republican Governor Brian Kemp. He called Governor Kemp disloyal, saying Kemp was the only being governor because he endorsed him. Governor Kemp later responded on social media. Now some political experts say Trump's attacks may be doing more harm than good for the Georgia GOP. 11Alive's Erica Murphy has more.
Former President Donald Trump and his running mate J.D. Vance both delivered fiery speeches to a packed house on Saturday night inside the Georgia State University Convocation Center. Many jabs were issued not only to his opponent, Vice President Kamala Harris, but to members of his own party.
But I got him by doing massive rallies, and I really worked hard. He's the most disloyal guy I think I've ever seen.
Governor Brian Kemp fired back at Trump on X, saying he's focused on winning in November, not petty personal insults, attacking fellow Republicans, or dwelling on the past. The comments reigniting the feud between Trump and Kemp, whose rocky relationship goes back to 2020. North Georgia University political science professor Nathan Price says going after Kemp alienates people and divides the party.
It didn't do anything to bring one new undecided voter, and probably more fittingly, it actually hurt him with the exact type of people he needs to win the state.
Fellow Republicans were quick to come to Kemp's defense last night, including Attorney General Chris Carr, who posted on X, "I stand with Brian Kemp and Marty Kemp." Sentiments were also echoed by Georgia Speaker of the House John Burns. Price thinks Kemp taking the high road will help him down the line.
He might mend and do what he can just to make sure that he doesn't burn any bridges himself.
Price predicts the presidential election will come down to just a couple thousand votes here in Georgia and says it's important for the GOP to get back on message if they want to win in November. Reporting from Atlanta, Erica Murphy, 11Alive News.
Well, it has been one of the hottest summers on record for most of the U.S. and the planet witnessed its hottest day in recorded history last week. Those high temperatures are driving up utility bills, but they may also cause us to feel the impact when we go grocery shopping. Ivan Rodriguez explains how this heat having an impact on the cost of fruits and vegetables.
Inflation in the U.S. may be cooling since hitting a 4-decade high, but hotter temperatures are creating a new set of problems for farmers who grow the nation's food.
We are in, to a large extent, the business of managing risk, and this just impacts the risk of climate on the crops that we grow.
Tom Evanellis has been growing blueberries and citrus fruits in California and Oregon for decades. He says record-breaking heat is causing his business to suffer.
As it gets warmer, the fruit becomes more delicate, so we'll stop harvesting earlier, so it impacts the amount that we can harvest in a day.
Avanella says the cost farmers like him are incurring by upgrading irrigation systems will eventually be passed down to consumers. Drought concerns on the West Coast only add to the challenges.
As we've improved these irrigation systems, we are actually designing them to be able to provide the precise amount of water that the plant needs, so there's zero waste.
Higher produce prices are a reversal of a trend the country has seen over the last year, with the cost of fruits and vegetables dropping by 0.5%.
Much of this is going to be driven by climate change, which is very real, and we need to aggressively acknowledge that and take steps as a country and as a world to begin to navigate it most effectively.
In Atlanta, I'm Ivan Rodriguez.
As the summer heat rages on, the American Red Cross is now declaring an emergency blood shortage. The nonprofit says its supply has fallen by more than 25% since July 1st. They are in need of donors to give blood or platelets to help with life-saving medical treatments. Donors of all blood types are urged to give, especially those with the type O blood. As a thank you, the Red Cross will give Amazon gift cards to those who donate blood, platelets, and plasma between now and August 31st. Right now on 11alive.com, we have a full list of upcoming donation opportunities and even the location. Check out this story there on our homepage. A live look now at Englewood Beach, Florida, where Debbie has been downgraded to a tropical storm after making landfall in the state this morning as a hurricane. Forecasters warned of life-threatening storm surges in Florida and major flooding across the southeastern states. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis declared a state of emergency for 61 counties expected to be impacted by the storm. DeSantis is warning that flooding from the storm could continue later on into the week.
We have seen significant storm surge. We have seen inundation. We have seen and will continue to see flooding in various parts of the state of Florida. This storm is expected to move throughout north central Florida and likely go into Georgia and the Carolinas.
Parts of Georgia will feel the impact of Debbie. Meteorologist Chesney McNeil with your 11Alive impact forecast for us right now, Chesney. So we know we're not going to really feel it here in the metro, but our neighbors are getting ready.
Yeah, southern portions of our state, like places like Valdosta, right, will be already hit really by some of that heavy rain already down there. They got flood warnings there already. You can see as the storm was even moving inland, a lot of that rain was pushing further off to the north. It's the northern end and the eastern part of the storm. That way you feel the brunt of the impact, and that's what's taking place in our southern portions of our state and over toward the east as well, and that will continue to be the case pretty much through the day today as the storm slowly makes its way further off to the north. There's Valdosta. You can see over toward Fargo, St. Mary's, over toward Brunswick. That's where a lot of that heavy rain is starting to pile right on up a little bit there, and the winds will continue to increase as well as the center of circulation gets a little bit closer to the area. Yeah, Waycross, you're included in that as well. Again, most of the southeastern portions of our state really feeling the impacts. Here in North Georgia, not much going on. As you can see, our winds are still on the light side, but those will start to pick up a little bit as we head further into the afternoon. Clouds inching closer to the area, and they will have something to say about our high temperatures today, but we are starting to see some of those clouds begin to fill in. Partly cloudy to mostly cloudy skies will be the call from Atlanta southward today. Up here to the north, you got plenty of sunshine now, and I think you'll hold on to it for much of the day before those clouds begin to move further off to the north. Temperature wise, well, we're in the 80s. Look at this, right at 80 degrees, Peachtree City and down toward LaGrange, where we've had a little bit more sun. Over into George's Rome, you're at 84, 85 up toward Dalton, 79 degrees, the cool spot up in Clayton, 85 in Duluth. You got 82 degrees right now in Covington. Notice the tornado watches associated with this storm as it continues to slide further off to the north, mainly over toward the east, right along the coastline. You got that onshore flow coming in. You get that friction that takes place. You get brief spin-ups taking place, and so that's what's happening down there as well, along with that heavy rain. Here's a better look at the storm and the particulars on it. You can see now a tropical storm with winds up to 70 miles per hour, moving to the northeast at about 8 miles per hour, so really starting to slow down as it continues to slide further off toward the north and east. That slow down just means heavier rain being dumped in a lot of areas, and so you're talking about a lot of flash flooding taking place. That orange surge flow for the winds over toward our eastern seaboard, so we'll continue to watch that as well. Latest track from the Hurricane Center continues to push this further over toward the east, so even now the cone of uncertainty, all of North Georgia has been taken out of that. That's mainly over into South Carolina, and with each run we've been noticing that more easterly push, so it will move over southeastern portions of the state, will move back out to sea and then make its way further inland back over into South Carolina and eventually into North Carolina, but it keeps pushing it further over toward the east, which means less impacts here, especially for the rain. We're not looking at much at all. An isolated shower or two possible this afternoon. The bulk of that will stay down to the south and east of us. So you got all the flood watches there as well. In fact, flood warnings down to the south already because of the heavy rain, but your watches are well east of our forecast area. Here's Edenton here. That flood watch begins a county over, so Warrington, Edgeville, over toward Wadley. That's where we're going to find the potential for some flooding right on through Thursday, as a matter of fact. Now, winds will feel it. Our winds will start to pick up. Sustained winds anywhere between 10 and 15 miles per hour. The gusts will be in the 20 mile per hour range this afternoon. We'll see that begin to trail off just a little bit tonight, and then tomorrow it picks back up again. You're looking at that 20 mile per hour range over toward Edenton. Could get as high as 30 miles per hour as far as the gusts go, even into the Athens area. And even on Wednesday, we'll be looking at those gusts still up there in the 20 mile per hour range, especially for our eastern most counties. For the rest, as far as the rainfall goes, again, not much. So that's going to be the impact around here. Just those gusty winds, anywhere between 20 and 25 miles per hour. So you need to tie down any loose items that you have on your porch or your patio before the winds really start to pick up this afternoon. Forecast track model shows again that we only have an isolated shower or thunderstorm around the area later on this afternoon. Back up to near 90 for your Tuesday. By Wednesday at 93. We'll stay close to the 90 degree mark for the rest of the week with very low threats for rain. So you will get decent amounts of sunshine for the rest of the week. Aisha?
All right, Chesley, thank you. To stay up to date on all the weather impacting your area, all you have to do is scan this QR code you see, download the 11Alive mobile app. Once you download it, go ahead and sign up for the weather alerts that impact your location. At this hour, we are learning more about the severity of the large wildfires in the U.S. right now. Their total burn mark spans more than 2 million acres. That is double the size of Rhode Island. The biggest wildfire in the country is California's Park Fire. Amy Kiley reports it just passed another grim milestone.
It's hard to be at your house and know that everybody else has lost theirs.
Large wildfires are now burning in about a dozen states. The National Interagency Fire Center reports they've scorched more than 2 million acres.
We're going to take this thing on.
The largest ongoing blaze is California's Park Fire.
And put these folks back home where they belong, and hopefully the closest thing to their normalcy that we can provide.
CAL FIRE says its burn mark surpassed 400,000 acres over the weekend. It's the fourth largest blaze in state history, and it's destroyed hundreds of structures, including homes near this woman's.
If you need anything, you guys know where I live.
About 50 miles north of Denver is the Alexander Mountain Fire. Some students and teachers near it are going back to school when they can't even go back home. The Quarry Fire also is near Denver. Officials say firefighters are containing more and more of it after its rapid start.
I know that their feet are torn up and bruised. They are heroes and they are saving our community.
I'm Amy Kiley reporting.
It is time to check in with 11Alive. Cheryl Preheim, Cheryl and Faith Jesse are still in Paris covering the Summer Olympic Games. Here's Cheryl with an update on our Georgia athletes today.
Hello from Paris on another big track and field day, which is why we brought you to that venue. We've got a lot of Georgia Olympians on the track today. I want to give you an update on CJ Allen, Life University alum, who easily makes it to the semis in the 400-meter hurdles.
And this has been 19 years of my career's hard work, coming here. And this has been my dream since 5th grade. So I was out here trying to just soak all that atmosphere in, run to the best of my ability, execute, get through the rounds, and leave it all out there.
And he has an awesome group here in the stands. We got a chance to talk to his girlfriend here from Atlanta. I had to show you the amazing shirt she has to cheer CJ on, and then CJ's entire family here in this picture, and 2 of his high school coaches there as well. Really cool to see them all here together cheering him on. Again, he's headed to the semifinals. All right, another big day today in the 400 meters. We have the defending champ from UGA, Shawnee Miller-Weibo, who is going to run in the 400 meters along with Aaliyah Butler, who is going to run in her first Olympics as a sophomore at UGA, and a big day for speed climber Emma Hunt making her Olympic debut here in Paris.
Climbing is like 95% falling. It just happens. Can't fight it.
There is so much happening with our local Olympians. We can't even fit it all in one show. Make sure you check out 11alive.com and our 11Alive app for all kinds of streaming content you can watch there as well. In Paris, Cheryl Preheim, 11Alive News.
All right, Cheryl, thank you. Tickets are now on sale for former President Jimmy Carter's 100th birthday celebration. The Jimmy Carter 100, a celebration in song, will take place on Tuesday, September 17th, 7:30 at the Fox Theater. Tickets are on sale now for $100 in honor of Carter turning 100. The evening will feature music from a variety of artists, including Eric Church, Maren Morris, the Atlanta Symphony Orchestra Chamber Chorus, and more. To get your tickets and for more information about former President Carter's 100th birthday, look for the story right now on 11alive.com.
All right, latest track from the Hurricane Center. Well, pulls that storm further and further away from our area, which is good news. You'll notice the latest track now takes it through southeastern portions of our state and then out to sea and then back up to the north over into South Carolina. But notice the cone of uncertainty has it mainly over towards South Carolina, North Carolina, not really over northern Georgia, which means we're not going to see much in the way of the rain fall at all. We may get an isolated shower or two. Our winds will pick up a little bit, but it will just be on the breezy side. Look at this. Almost rain free, right? We're going to give it a 30% chance today and tomorrow, but really not looking at much in the way of rainfall. Temperatures back up to 90 degrees for the high on Tuesday. By Wednesday, 93. We'll be at 90 on Thursday. And then by Friday, Saturday, Sunday, a small chance for rain coming back to us with temperatures hanging out right near that 90-degree mark.
Chelsea, thank you. We do want to point out some programming changes for you. The Olympics are preempting 11Alive News weekdays and weekends. And while the games are on TV for you to enjoy, pull out your cellular device and get the local big stories and weather 24/7 through our streaming app, 11Alive Plus. We know you have two screens anyway, right? During the week, we're going to be on every morning, normal time for you on air, 4:30 to 7, and streaming here at 11 a.m. and 4 p.m. And then we are right back on air for you at 6 p.m. and again for 11Alive News at 11. That follows Olympics prime time. 11Alive News is also watching dozens of athletes from Georgia competing. Cheryl Preheim and Faith Jesse in Paris to tell their stories. Their reports will be featured during 2 Olympic shows Monday through Saturday. All Access Pass at 7, followed by the Olympic Zone at 7:30. Have a great one.